I never been the guy who traveled, which is actually weird because traveling was one of my dreams. As many people, it's pretty common. Everybody wants to travel. I think as humans, we like that. And this video isn't going to be about the fact that, hey, I used to not travel, now I do. It's not that. It's about the lesson behind it. And what I learned through the fact that when I was younger, I, well, did not have the opportunity to go anywhere. And then when I did, I stopped myself from doing so. So for example, in my teen years and everything, there's no traveling. Like we didn't go anywhere. It was quite a tough time to just survive with the family and everything. But moving forward, when I turned 18, I've had jobs and I could actually go out and travel. I always calculated everything. Like I thought, why would I save up for a month, 2 months, just so that I can spend that money, which is basically money. If you're earning it hourly, that's just condensed time. That's your time. Why would I take that and then spend it on a 1 week vacation elsewhere? So I could never bring myself to do it. I would always rather invest it, save it, or even, build something out of that. Whatever it was, I didn't know what it was, but I just did not want to spend it on travel. I thought it's going to come later in time. And all through my early 20s, it was the same thing. It was, at that point, I was making enough money to travel, but same kind of thing. Why would I go by myself? Who would I go? And the worst part about this is that everybody online that's your age is posting that. I don't know if you guys realize, but if you've been online on social media, you've probably seen this turning point where your friends, your peers, classmates, they will start posting pictures how they're traveling abroad, they're doing this, they went to the beach, all these fancy places, they went with their girlfriends, boyfriends. And I would just think, wow, I wish I could do that. And maybe I can, but I could never allow myself to. And I was just kind of, it was 25th year, it was 2025, but I was also 25 years old. That's when everything changed, but not because I hit it big. Nothing crazy happened. It's just the fact that I changed my career direction and got different jobs and different work. And I remember being on one of these trips, and I'm not going to list the places I've gone to, but the point is, I've never been the person who traveled, and then in 1 year, which was last year, I have done more traveling than most people do in their lives. And I know this sounds like I'm trying to flex, but once again, this is not about that. What I'm saying is, this just proves to myself that none of that shit mattered back then. I ended up, running a company with my brother, being in management, not having time off. I missed so many trips that I could have gone on. And it's interesting because now that I think about it, I was asking myself, why me? I was in one of these places and I thought, why would it be me? How did I get here? Because I never did this deliberately. I never decided one day, that's it. I'm going to stop grinding. I'm going to stop trying, and I'm going to start vacationing, because this wasn't it at all. In fact, one of the reasons I travel is because it's due to work, and it just so happens if work is able to take care of those expenses, then you just get to travel. Isn't that awesome? And on top of that, yes, a lot of these travels were also leisure, which is weird because how do you have the vacation time at work? You can't just go on vacation whenever you feel like. But what I'm trying to say is that everything leading up to the point and everything that I did set myself up to then take on the opportunity that allowed me to do this. And I know it sounds pretty vague, but the whole point here is the fact that I always thought I'm missing out so big, and I thought, damn, my youth is going away. Isn't it the best to travel when you're young, full of energy? And then I just kind of thought, yeah, but if I went somewhere when I was 20, I didn't have the communication skills. I was probably making less money, and not like I make that much more anyway right now, but it's just my positioning was completely different. Who would I go with? Maybe by myself. I would be too shy to explore, none of that street smarts. And as you grow up, I just thought I'm able to appreciate a lot more now. And the time passed anyway, right? It's not like, I know a lot of us when we're young, we think, I don't want to do this when I'm 30, because when you're 30, you're old, or, that's later. Who wants to do that? I need to do it now. But in reality, I felt just as good doing this when I was 25, 26. That's still young, of course, but I think it wouldn't be any different when I was 30 and 35, or when I become that age. And yeah, so what I was trying to understand is that none of that shit mattered at all. The fact that I was missing out and thinking all that, because suddenly things can change so fast. If you've been actually trying to better your life for yourself, things can change absolutely so quickly that you end up doing the things you wanted to do. And this is actually built on a larger idea or theory I have, which is basically what I'm working on now. And a lot of us are working on building something and trying to, increase their incomes, whether it's going to be from a business or at their job. And I just think, my problems that are financial seem so small these days. Like, let's say I'm driving, I need to pay for my car, I have a car expenses coming up, I have to do an oil change, I popped a tire, I gotta buy a new tire, the brakes are bad, I gotta fix my brakes. Actually, that's happening right now. I need to buy new brakes, and that's gonna be $500 for just one brake. Okay, like, amazing. And I just think about it, just like the whole travel thing, that just proves to me that none of the shit matters right now, because as soon as you put yourself into a situation or where you've done the work and you can actually afford to spend more money or have more income to fix all these bullshit problems, it's tiny in comparison. In fact, even imagine yourself making 5, 7, 10,000 every single month. These expenses would be nothing. Okay, pops a tire, buy a new tire. You know what I mean? It's like none of this shit matters right now. And while I do say it's important to, yes, enjoy the process, enjoy yourself right now, what I mean by that is that's in your day-to-day tasks, in your work, in whatever it is you're doing, not trying to prove to someone that you're rich when you're not trying to sit there and buy that Gucci bag, you save up for it. What's the point? I always ask younger people, and I've been like this too, especially some people at my work, okay, you're working a lot, you're working crazy hours, and what are you spending it on? Well, you got this car. Okay, I love cars, can't deny that, but I'm like, but you're just basically putting all of your time and energy into a single possession. Yes, it makes you happy. Okay, yes, you like it. Cars make me happy. Great, but it's not wise at all. And I'm not trying to say, don't buy the things you want. Save on coffee every $5. I'm not saying those things at all. What I'm saying is, spending or working and then earning that money and then spending it on something to not only prove yourself to others, but also to play that pretend, I'll save up for a watch and then buy this expensive watch just to show people that I am rich, but really I'm not. That's the worst thing ever, and I've been through that when in my early 20s, and I thought, why the hell am I doing that? I'd much rather be in the other end where I have money to solve my problems and have excess income, and then actually feel like, all right, this is what it feels like to have extra money, extra expendable income. Not the opposite, because you could be making $10,000 a month and still feel broke because you're spending all of it. I'd much rather have my bills be $2,000-$3,000 a month, and then everything else is just extra for family's problems, any problems that arise, you can just solve, that money solves basically. And I just realized all these small financial problems, they don't matter at all, because the exact same thing is going to happen, and I know it because it's happened in every single time in my life where I've tried to achieve something, whether it was the traveling thing, which was like literally by accident. It wasn't an accident, the fact that I was putting in work to qualify myself for certain things, but it was a complete accident that it just happened like that. Just right place, right time. But that's why they say, certain things take years, but then it changes overnight almost, is what it feels like. For me, it changed over a year. But there's many places I haven't been yet, many places, in life where I haven't gone to yet. And even something like working out, I probably spent my first 3 to 5 years of going to the gym before anybody could even say like, oh, this guy works out. Like, you could just not see it, no matter what I would do. And until they did, it's like, okay. And then overnight, suddenly, hey, bro, do you work out? Hey, let's go to the gym together, whatever. But the point is, you're not that guy until you are, because it's sudden. It takes years of work and years of effort, but then it's sudden. And that's happened in different places in my life. And I know this exact same thing will happen in the financial side too. And I just kind of told myself, well, none of this shit matters and I shouldn't overthink it. You know, if I have extra bills, I can't make a payment, I get credit card interest. It is what it is, right? Obviously, don't set yourself up for failure, but don't spend money that you don't have. But also, if you're working on the right things, all these problems, your future you will solve all these problems anyway. That's all it is. I'll say it again. Your future you has solved all these problems already. So why are you stressing about it right now? They're not going to mean shit in 3 years from now. Maybe even in a year from now. You don't know. So that's my message for today. Thanks for watching, guys.